Horton's World Mythology welcomes you. Before there were gods perched on golden thrones, before humanity etched its first histories into stone, there existed something else, something more primal, more visceral, stories. But these were not the tales told to soothe children into slumber. They were stories whispered in the suffocating grip of fear. Stories born from the darkness that crouched just beyond the firelight. Stories soaked in blood, sacrifice, and the chilling certainty that humanity was not alone in the world. They were the first warnings, the original maps of terror, charting the abyss where nightmares were born and given names. Tonight, we do not walk the well-trodden paths of heroes. We will not celebrate triumphant gods or recount tales of noble quests. Instead, we venture into the shadows that stretch behind the altars and the shrines. We are descending into the world of mythology that is rarely spoken of in polite company. This is the realm where the divine is not a source of comfort, but a force of nature, unpredictable, demanding, and utterly terrifying. It is a place where the gods demand more than just faith. They demand blood, they demand obedience born from absolute heart-stopping dread. We will explore the secrets that have been buried for millennia, the truths that were too frightening to be preserved in popular folklore. This journey will take us back to a time when the world was new, and the rules were written by powers that cared little for human morality. These were the times of ancient terrors, when creatures crawled out of the deepest pits of imagination and into the waking world. These myths were not metaphors. They were survival guides for a world where every rustle in the leaves could be your end, and every shadow could hold a hungry mouth. Prepare yourself. We are about to peel back the layers of legend to reveal the raw, unsettling core beneath. The stories we will uncover are not meant to entertain, but to remind us of a fundamental truth. A truth that our ancestors understood with every fibre of their being. The world is a dangerous place, filled with things that hunt in the dark. And the oldest stories, the truest stories, are the ones that teach us what we should fear. These are the tales of secrets, shadows, and ancient terrors. Forget the sanitized versions you learned in school. Forget the heroic figures with chiseled jaws and noble hearts. The mythology we're exploring tonight is a far more brutal affair. It is a world painted not in vibrant colors, but in shades of black and crimson. A world where divinity and monstrosity are often two sides of the same terrible coin. The gods of old were not paragons of virtue. They were embodiments of raw, untamed power. And power, as our ancestors knew all too well, is a terrifying thing. It is capricious, it is jealous, and it does not play by any rules but its own. This is an invitation to step away from the comforting light of modern understanding. We ask you to join us in the twilight of human history, where logic held no sway and fear was the only compass. We will listen to the whispers that still echo from forgotten tombs and desecrated temples. These are the whispers of gods who hungered for more than mere worship. They craved the beating hearts of mortals, the smoke of sacrificial pyres, and the absolute submission of those who lived in their long, terrifying shadows. We will learn why fear, not love, was the foundation of faith. Our journey will not stop with the gods. We will delve deeper into the pits and chasms where the real monsters lurked. Every culture has its boogeymen, its creatures of the night. But what if they were more than just stories? For the people who first told these tales, the monsters were real. They were the explanation for the ship that never returned, the child who vanished from the village edge, the strange sickness that defied all reason. These creatures were not fiction, they were a part of the natural and supernatural order of the world. So extinguish the lights, quiet your rational mind. Let the darkness creep in at the edges of your perception. We are about to embark on a chilling exploration of the myths that humanity tried to forget. Together, we will confront the hungry gods, the undying monsters, and the ancient curses that shaped the nightmares of our ancestors. This is not just a history lesson. It is a descent into the ancient collective terror that still resides deep within the human psyche. The shadows are waiting for us. We imagine gods as just and loving, but in ancient times the divine was feared, not adored. The gods were wild forces, dangerous, unpredictable and cruel. Cronus swallowed his own children to keep his throne. The Olympians who followed were just as vengeful. Dionysus drove mortals mad, leading to violence and tragedy. To worship these gods was to bargain for survival, hoping their gaze would pass you by. Under a fierce sun, the Aztec Empire looked to the heavens with dread. Their world depended on feeding the sun god Huitzilopochtli with human blood. To keep the sun rising, priests offered human hearts atop their pyramids, a desperate bargain for another dawn. For the Aztecs, the sunrise was not a guarantee, but a gift purchased with the lives of others. In the frozen north, the Norse believed even their gods were mortal, warriors, poets, magicians, but not eternal. Bound to a terrible fate, their gods faced Ragnarok, a final, inescapable doom. The gods were flawed, vulnerable, and powerless to stop the coming darkness. For the Norse, the ultimate horror was the certainty of annihilation. The world would burn, and all would end. Across the globe, every culture has conjured monsters from the darkest corners of imagination. For ancient Egyptians, the greatest terror was Amit, the devourer of souls. In the Hall of Two Truths your heart was weighed. Fail and Amit, a beast with crocodile head, lion's forequarters and hippo's hind, devoured your soul. To be erased from existence, never remembered, never reborn, was the ultimate horror. In Japan, the Oni were not distant threats. They were demons who could drag you to hell before you died. Hulking, horned and brutal Oni punished the wicked, storming down from mountains to terrorize villages and enforce divine wrath. Every lie or crime risked drawing their attention. They were the ultimate boogeymen, blurring the line between the living and the underworld. Rituals and festivals like Setsubun, where beans are thrown to drive Oni away, were desperate acts to keep these monsters at bay. The Oni were a constant reminder. Your sins could bring horror to your doorstep at any moment. In Japan, the threat of punishment was never just for the afterlife. It could come crashing through your door tonight. In the frozen forests of North America, the Algonquin peoples feared the Wendigo, a spirit of endless hunger born from cannibalism. Gaunt, skeletal and insatiable, the Wendigo was a monster you could become, not just encounter. It possessed people in times of famine, whispering greed and violence, turning hunger into horror. The Wendigo could mimic loved ones' voices, luring victims into the woods. This myth was a warning. The real monster is the darkness within, awakened by desperation. The Wendigo legend reinforced the taboo against cannibalism and the importance of community. It's a chilling reminder that sometimes the greatest threat is what we might become. Some myths warn not of monsters, but of curses, like the curse of the pharaohs in Egypt. Disturbing a pharaoh's tomb was said to unleash swift, supernatural retribution. Inscriptions promised death to violators, and strange deaths after tomb openings fueled the legend. Was it coincidence, or a curse awakened by ancient anger? The myth endures because it taps into our fear of breaking sacred boundaries and the power of the dead. Some secrets, it warns, are best left undisturbed. In ancient Greece, The worst crime was killing your own kin, and the punishment was the Furies. These relentless goddesses haunted the guilty, driving them to madness with whispers and visions. The Furies were the living embodiment of guilt, a curse you could never escape. Their torment was psychological, not physical, a slow unravelling of sanity. The myth reveals a deep truth. Some acts stain the soul forever. Even the oracle at Delphi's frenzied prophecies hinted at the terror of divine madness. The Furies remind us that the worst punishment is often the one we inflict on ourselves. In the Philippines, the most terrifying monster is the aswang, a shapeshifter who could be your neighbour by day, a predator by night. Its most feared form, the manananggal, detaches its torso and hunts the vulnerable, especially unborn children. The aswang legend explains sudden illness and loss, fueling real fear and protective rituals. Its horror lies in betrayal, evil hiding behind a familiar face. The myth creates paranoia. Danger isn't in the jungle, but across the fence. The aswang brings terror into the heart of the community. It's a chilling reminder that sometimes the monster is the person you trust most. Why do these ancient stories still haunt us in an age of science? Myths are encoded in our DNA, born from millennia of fear and survival in a dangerous world. They gave shape to the unknown, teaching us caution and respect for the darkness. Even now, a ghost story can awaken primal instincts, an echo of ancestors huddled around a fire. These tales endure because the fears that created them are eternal. They speak a language older than words, reminding us we're still vulnerable to the unknown. The monsters may have changed, but the shadows still make us afraid. Monsters never left us. They simply evolved, adapting to our modern fears. The names have changed, but the terror remains. The Wendigo's hunger now lives in our endless pursuit of wealth. The Furies haunt us as viral shame and digital ghosts. Monsters moved from forests to our cities, our minds. We just stopped recognizing them. Myths haunt us because they are mirrors, reflecting the darkness within every human heart. The gods and monsters of legend reveal our own flaws, our rage, our hunger, our capacity for evil. The line between man and monster is thin. The greatest terrors are not outside, but within us. Myths warn us the most dangerous shadows are the ones we carry inside our souls. Our journey through the dark world of mythology draws to a close. We have walked among gods and monsters, felt the cold touch of ancient curses, and seen that these tales still echo in our fears today. The shadows of old have only grown longer, seeping into our modern world. Mythology is not a closed book. It is a conversation with the abyss, a whisper in the gloom that endures. So, the myths of Endless Night are more than stories. They're our inheritance, a legacy of fear and awe passed down through generations. The ancient terrors remain, lurking in new forms, reminding us that the darkness of mythology is the darkness within ourselves. We are never far from the firelight, never safe from the shadows. The night is dark, and it is full of stories yet to be told. Their stories are timeless reflections of the human condition. And ask yourself, do you believe? Do you dare to explore the unknown, to confront the shadows that lurk in the dark corners of our world? We may stumble upon truths more unsettling than the shadows themselves. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the history of the mythology. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to Horton's World Mythology for more explorations into the world's most fascinating myths and legends. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What other mythical creatures or legends would you like us to explore next? Share your ideas, and let's keep the flame burning bright. and as always, stay curious.